Let's talk supply chain. So welcome to the show, Josh.
Well, thank you for having me, Sarah. Looking forward to chatting.
I am so happy to have you here. I mean, shipping intelligence is something that has been missing from the industry. So much of it has been guesswork or which person you happen to speak to. It's been based on historical data, or you're not entirely sure what you are or aren't entitled to when it comes to overpayments or credits or discounts. And honestly, it can be a bit of a minefield. And we actually spoke about this at Home Delivery World just a few months ago. And so I am really excited to dive a little bit deeper into what you're doing at Reveel and the impact that you're making on the industry and so much more. So let's get started with a little bit of history. So prior to Reveel, you worked at DHL in sales, and I'm really intrigued as to what you saw there, some of the challenges or issues that led you to really want to level the playing field and establish Reveel. So talk to us about that journey.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say, first of all, it was really pricing transparency that really drove us and really kind of sparked the idea to start this business. And what I mean by that is, I can recall very, very vividly when I was a newer sales rep, um, visiting smaller shippers, visiting larger shippers, and then all of a sudden seeing that the smaller shippers had better discounts. And at the time, I was like, well, wait a second, that doesn't make very much sense. Um, but I came to find out very, very shortly that that's just how it is in the parcel space. Discounts are given by volume, but at the end of the day, you have to negotiate. And that was oftentimes the answer to the question, why is it that the smaller shipper has better discounts, was, well, they negotiated better.
Really?
I
That's so
would say the other
interesting.
thing that really sparked us, oh, yeah, I would say the other thing that kind of sparked this was really just knowledge and access to data. So just seeing that our customers at the time really just didn't have a lot of visibility into the data. The carriers had some visibility, whether they were using it or not using it. They had some visibility, but the customers had very, very limited access.
Well, and all of that is really important, especially when you're talking about parcels. You're talking about getting deliveries to the end consumer, and it means the difference between whether they're going to come back, right? And the revenue stream for your business. So that was in 2006 that we were talking about you being at DHL in sales. So getting on for 17 years now, some things have stayed the same, and some things have, I'm sure, changed completely. So before we dive into what you do exactly at Reveel, talk to us through what the industry looks like now in terms of small parcel logistics and shipping management.
Yeah, so I would say overall, companies in our industry are kind of categorized or grouped into what analysts might call the freight audit and payment space, right? So the FAP space, if you will. And that market, if you look at just that market segment, I mean, it's really saturated. There's a ton of companies that do audit, especially. So if you look at just audit, that's a very, very saturated space. Now, a number of those companies that are lumped into that freight audit and payment space, they have a consulting side as well, right? So you could refer to them as consultants, if you will. And at least what we've seen is that the majority of the consultants, they really deliver the value prop that they have through their professional service, through their people. And quite honestly, I mean, doing things through people and doing things through professional service just becomes extremely expensive. And one of the things that we've seen, at least through the course of, like you mentioned, the last 17 years, is that almost no one is investing in their technology. And I mean significantly investing in their technology.
I mean, that is so amazing to me. I mean, being in 2023 and we're still talking about companies and organizations that really need to invest in technology still. I mean, let's get on board, people. So let's talk about Reveel. I mean, you've made some big changes over the last few years that are disrupting the industry. And we're going to talk a little bit more also about that a little bit later on in this discussion. What were the drivers of that change and the market's reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest driver was our customers. Our customers essentially came to us and said, look, we love what you're doing from a consulting perspective. You're
Mhm.
saving us a bunch of money, but we're paying you a bunch of money. And it feels like we're constantly tied to having to use you and constantly having to pay you a bunch of money, as a byproduct of that. So really what our customers asked us to do was to create a different type of engagement. And after doing, a ton of different interviews with customers, ultimately what we found they were asking for was for us to create a software
Mm.
where we would take the intellectual property in our heads as consultants and essentially manifest that into a software application where our customers could interact with it on their own without having to use a consultant, without having to pay us a ton of money. So they could access the same information through technology at a fraction of the cost.
Awesome. So talk to us about that platform. What exactly do you do for your clients?
Well, there's a ton that we do. I would say to lump it into kind of one phrase, I would say it's parcel spend management. So it can be anything from giving really, really deep analytics into customer carrier shipping data. We basically have an artificial intelligence and machine learning component in the app. And really what the crux of that is we're able to pull actionable insights out of what we're finding in the data that our customers can then actually do and have either a cost savings or have some sort of efficiency improved. So that's really what's kind of at the crux of it is really just improving from a parcel spend management standpoint. Now we do the traditional, auditing and all of those types of things, reporting, customized reporting, things like that. But I would say also what's very, very unique in our offering is our customers have the ability to not have to use a consultant in a negotiation with the carriers. They can negotiate on their own. We provide tools in our application to really allow them to do that and to give them the visibility when they get a carrier agreement from FedEx, when they get a carrier agreement from UPS, having the ability to compare them side by side is another really, really neat feature in the app.
Well, and I would think like time consuming if you have to do that on your own.
Time consuming, the data sets are so large. It's almost at a point where, traditionally we hear people work out of Excel and things like that. But, these data sets are so large that, I mean, it really makes it impossible to kind of work in Excel if you wanted to do a package level, kind of detail.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me about your ideal client. Who is a good fit to work with you at Reveel? Do you have specific industries, a size of a company? Walk us through what that looks like.
Yeah. So we typically work with product-based businesses. And I say typically because we have some really, really large service-based businesses, but typically it's going to be a product-based business that needs to ship that product out. And I would say our typically our minimum spend threshold in annual parcel spend is going to be about $1 million. And there's really no cap. I mean, we work with companies that have 9 figures in spend as well. So some very, very large kind of enterprise shippers. But I would say one thing that is really, really grabbing hold in the space is when you have a pretty good understanding of carrier data, you've negotiated carrier agreements several times in the past, and maybe you've even used a consultant. Mm-hmm. When we talk to those types of people in businesses, the light bulb just flashes on what we created. And they're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you actually created this. They're like, this is going to disrupt the industry. We're like, yeah, we just disrupted our own business. We know it's going to disrupt the industry. So that's who we're finding gets really, really excited about this.
I love that you just used that light bulb moment because I've been in a room where that happens. And just the feeling on sort of both sides of the table, it really brings down the barriers and everybody just seems to be on the same page after that. And that's why I'm chuckling a little bit. But you have some amazing client stories on your website. Any business reviewing their shipping strategy really should head over there and take a look. But can you choose one of those for us now and just talk to us about how you worked with that client. What did you help them with, and what was the ROI and or benefit of working with you on that?
Yeah, it is difficult to choose one. I mean, because like you mentioned, so many come to mind. I would say one does stick out, maybe because it was somewhat fairly recent. But we recently did a project for Alo Yoga, and the problem that they had was the COO came in and said, "Look, we use a 3PL now. We're shipping on their account numbers. We would like to own the accounts. We would like to own the relationship with the carriers." And their operations people and their finance people said, "Okay, well, that's great. But gosh, how much more is this going to cost us? Are we going to take a 1 million, 5 million, $10 million increase? We have no idea." So ultimately, we were able to engage with them, start a project, provide the data visibility, provide the marketing or the market analysis for them. And it turns out, really happy with the results. They're thrilled as well, but there was actually a cost savings, a multi-7-figure cost savings by going from a 3PL to owning the direct relationship with the carrier. So really, really cool result.
Wow. And I remember talking about this at Home Delivery World, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about you and what you guys had been able to do for them. And so I appreciate you for sharing that story, but multiple 7 figures, I think you said, is huge when you're talking about bottom line and when people are looking at cost savings right now. So just want to leave that one there. But I want to dive deeper into a few of the ways that you can help your customers. And we've got to talk about your parcel shipping and carrier contract monitoring and management solution, because that's a mouthful, by the way, because part of that is securing the best rates and discounts from FedEx and UPS, which is something that has been talked a lot about recently, especially in the news. I think it was later in last year in 2022. And who doesn't want the best rates and discounts, right? So talk to us about that solution. How does it work? How do your clients benefit from that?
Yeah. There's really kind of two components when we look at, kind of this carrier contract management. The first component is really negotiation, right? So your RFP process. And, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we've built in the app the ability for customers to truly kind of support their own negotiations and not have to use a consultant if they choose not to. So really it allows our customers to do an RFP with the carriers. Now, when we think about negotiation, internally at least, I tend to think about why, how, and what. And this is directly what our app kind of focuses on. But the why is, why am I requesting certain things from the carriers? And really what what's at the base of that is, what in my data do I know that I need help with? Or what impact is something like dimensional weight, or something like the carrier minimum package floor, which is basically the minimum package charge. Like, how do these things impact my business, right? So that would be the what. So I know what it is that's impacting my business. The how is, well, how do I bring this up with my rep? How do I get my rep to move, on this internally? How do I navigate the internal channels within, carriers like FedEx and UPS? And then lastly is the what. Well, what the heck do I ask for? What specifically, can I ask for from the carrier rep, and how can we partner, to really make this happen? So those are kind of the three components that we get, or that we can offer in the app. And then I would say during the actual RFP process, our customers have the ability to compare the agreements side by side. That was one of the biggest problems our customers said that they had when we were doing interviews is, I get an agreement from FedEx, I get an agreement from UPS, and it's like, I have no idea what these things mean. Like, are they saving me money? Are they not? How do they compare against each other? So actually being able to compare agreements side by side in the app is huge. So once you've negotiated your agreement, the next step is monitoring the agreement, because you've got to keep the discounts after that, right? So you get the discounts, you work so hard, you partner with the carrier, partner with the rep, and now you got to make sure you stay there. And one of the things that we heard in our interviews, with the reps with our customers was, well, we're losing discounts. And we said, wait a second, time out. Like, what do you mean you're losing discounts? Tell us
Wow.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And what they told us was there were really two ways they were losing discounts. One was they were falling out of revenue tiers in their agreement, meaning their spend levels would change and they would fall out of their discount band and they would get less discounts. So they would essentially lose money that way. The other area that they were losing money or losing discounts was things were expiring in the agreement. So that's something to be on the lookout is carriers give discounts. Now, more particular on the surcharge level discounts, they'll put an expiration date with those discounts. So we help our customers monitor their revenue band to make sure they don't fall out of a tier and then monitor expirations to make sure they don't lose discounts.
Well, and I've heard about those expiration dates before, and they can mean the difference between losing a lot of money, right? And being able to work towards a better solution, even when you're renegotiating those contracts with the carrier. So I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't think it's something that everybody necessarily knows about, remembers, or keeps on top of. And so if you've got a platform that can be able to do that for you, I mean, I just think about everything a supply chain professional has to think about. And if we can take some of that stuff off their plate, they could be doing so much more, especially in strategy and creativity and all sorts of different things. So I love that you talked about that. So let's talk about data because I shared a stat a couple of shows ago that claimed that according to a recent report, a huge 67.4% of supply chain managers admitted to using Excel spreadsheets as their primary management tool. And people wonder why we have dirty data and a lack of visibility. And I know you mentioned Excel before and how it's really not a viable option to keep on top of what you're doing in parcel spend management. So talk to us about your or Reveel's shipping data analytics software, what it can do, how it helps, and is it suitable for all those Excel lovers out there?
Yeah, not to bash Excel, it's a great tool. It really is, but it is just limited. Our customers, and we conducted a ton of research around this and really trying to determine what is it that our customer is looking for.
Yeah.
And really what we found is our customers, they wanted us to tell them, okay, well, how well am I doing overall? Just tell me how well I'm doing. Where do I need to focus? And then lastly, what can I do to improve? That's really what customers are asking us to do. And that's really exactly what we built the software around. In our interviews, I would say that, talking about Excel and kind of leading into, I guess, just business intelligence tools, our customers told us that, hey, business intelligence tools are great, but we don't want that in your application, in your software. And really what they were asking for was for us to do a lot more than just a business intelligence kind of function. And what I mean by that is they said, look, the problem with business intelligence tools in the traditional sense is I can manipulate the data. I can provide myself and create some really, really interesting visualizations. But the problem is I need to know what I'm looking for. I need to know exactly how to work with the data to be able to do these things, to be able to find out the problems, and then I need to come up with a solution. Our customers came to us and said, look, just connect me from A to Z. You're the experts. You tell me what the problems are in the data, and then you tell me what we can do about it. And so that's exactly what we did. Now, for the Excel lovers out there, I get it. It's something you can feel, you can touch, you can see, you can manipulate. So I get it. In our app, all of the reports that we do could be downloaded in Excel format, could be downloaded in CSV, so that, yep, you can see it, you can touch it, you could believe it.
I love that. And now we're going to talk about something that we talked about in our panel discussion a few months ago, because you launched the Reveel shipping intelligence platform 2 years ago, and it was a shift to your business model. Like you mentioned earlier, you totally disrupted your business model. So you knew that you were you were going to disrupt the industry. So what was the vision behind the launch, and how is it empowering shippers to break free of consulting and changing the face of the industry? I mean, is parcel consulting dead? Let's talk about this.
um, I would say the vision was really, it came directly from our customers. It really did. You know, our customers just said, look, the traditional model in the consulting space is to take a gain share for multi-years. And our customers just said, look, as a byproduct of paying you a ton of money for work you did on day one and having to pay you for multiple years, they're like, we just don't like it. And as a byproduct, we don't like you because of that model.
No.
So I would say at the end of the day, you know, this is nothing new. Like history is full of examples of really disruptive technology coming into highly established professional service industries, right? And then just disrupting them. I mean, you look at like TurboTax in the CPA world, right? For individual filers, TurboTax is a great option. You don't need to go to a CPA. You know, you look at what travel apps did for travel agents, right?
Yep, very true.
You know, if I need to book a flight, you know, to go on vacation, it's just me. Or if I need to go out to a trade show or something, I don't necessarily use a travel agent, you know, for that. So once again, you know, software is full of these examples. And I would say that's exactly what our software is focused on. Is it is disrupting the parcel consulting space, and it's allowing customers to have the power, the data, the visibility to be able to do this on their own and really replace a consultant at a fraction of the cost. That being said, your question, is parcel consulting dead? The simple answer is no. You know, CPAs still exist, right? Travel agencies still exist. But what happened was they morphed, they changed, they adapted. And now what they do is they work on more complex situations, right? So we have a CPA for our business, right? It's a complex tax return. So we use a CPA for that. Now, if I was going on vacation with my family, extended family, friends, and I need to book flights for 20 different people, go to a resort and do all that kind of stuff, I'm probably not going to do that on my own. That's when a travel agent is going to come in and be able to provide their expertise. So once again, you know, that travel agency, their job just focused, or I guess it just morphed into something a little bit different. So a little bit more focus on what I would say more complex situations. And that's exactly what we're going to see in the parcel consulting space. Parcel consultants, as a result of this software, are going to have to work on more complex, complex cases.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's happening in every industry. And so that was a really great way to just show how it's shifting, right? They're not going anywhere, but there are more complex situations that need that kind of attention. And that's what they're going to be focusing on. And that's what organizations need. They need something that they can do on their own right away. And now, whenever we talk about technology, the one thing that comes up with the audience all the time is, well, what does onboarding look like? How much IT resources am I going to need? How long is this going to take? How much training do I need to give my people? And how long is that going to take? Can you walk us through what that looks like? You know, if I like what I'm hearing about Reveel and I want to get in touch with you, let me know what it looks like to onboard with you.
Yeah. So first of all, caveat, we chose the word onboard very, very specifically, and we didn't want to call it implementation, because implementation drives everyone into a nightmare scenario and memories of implementing a CRM or implementing really an ERP, and it gives me nightmares just even hearing that word. So onboarding, really for us, what we're talking about is onboarding. You know, our customers have the ability to just self-sign up. They can connect their carrier data. Everything gets loaded automatically. Now, if you do engage in a negotiation, our onboarding really means that our team is going to come in and help you. We're going to help teach you how to use the app. And we're going to have a negotiation really done within about a 90-day period. It's going to take, typically we track this, it takes about 8 to 10 hours over that 90-day period on the customer side. To be able to get kind of the results and be able to conduct, you know, the RFP with the carrier. So that's really what it is that we're talking about. But in our engagements also for the first year, we're going to have more than just our analysts come in and our onboarding team. We're going to have people from our client success team come in and be able to help our customers understand how to create custom reports, be able to set them up on there. We're going to provide training on the app, because that's really the way that we view our job in year one. Teach you how to use this thing, train you on how to use it. And then at the end of year one, you have the option to say, hey, I'm good. I'm going to take the technology and run with it myself. Or you have the option to say, hey, you know, I still need your people around. And that's certainly a viable option.
So let's talk about that approach. I mean, everybody knows I love that collaboration is the future of the business. I talk about it all the time. And so it's not just about technology, right? It's about people as well. And you talk about not just being your client's partner, but also their advocate, which I absolutely love and is really important, especially in parcel spend management. So talk to us about that approach. How are these kinds of collaborative partnerships, how do they really drive some competitive advantage, particularly in the highly competitive shipping industry?
Yeah. I mean, that from day one has always been our approach is we do want to advocate on behalf of our clients. And our job is really to partner with them, teach them how to use the app, like I mentioned, but also teach them about the industry itself. Let them understand, what levers do I actually control,
Right.
in parcel spend management. And we take a collaborative approach with them, when we're doing this. But our job is to make sure that they can fully understand the data that's at hand and visibility into the data, because that's a really, really important part. And, really, I would say as a byproduct of this collaborative approach too, I think a lot of times, other businesses in our space kind of make it look like FedEx and UPS are kind of the bad guys.
Yeah.
They're trying to, kind of take advantage. And I wouldn't say that that's necessarily true at all. FedEx and UPS, they have some very, very good reps, and they really are looking to as well partner with their customers. And so that's really a part of the collaborative approach that we take too, is just making sure that there is a level playing field so that our clients, as well as the carriers, have the data visibility that they both need to be able to have educated decisions, so that, really things can get done, that benefit both businesses. And that's really what's at the heart of the collaboration, with us, our customers, and then of course, looping in the carriers too.
Well, and just better communication. Isn't that what we all want? We don't want to be going into work every day looking for battle. We want to, have collaboration. We want to partner. We want to make sure that it's a win-win scenario, right? So now that we've talked about, who you are as Reveel, what exactly do you do, the major benefits of working with you, what does the future hold for Reveel? What can we expect to see from you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, simply stated, we are all in on the technology. That's where the brunt of our investment goes. That's where we wake up every morning thinking about, go to bed every night thinking about. It truly is our technology. So we are going to continue to really enhance our clients' ability to actively manage their parcel shipping. So that's going to continue to be a focus of ours. But some things that are upcoming is we are investing pretty heavily into enhancing some of the AI and machine learning in our app. So there's really cool things that are going to be coming in the future. There's cool things there now. There's cool things that are coming in the future. One of the things that our customers have really grabbed onto in the app is what we call actionable insights. And I talked about it just briefly earlier. But what these actionable insights are they're essentially insights that pop up in our app that tell our customers, you can do this action and it'll save you this amount of money. Or we noticed this in the data and you could do it differently if you did this. Wow. So they are just actionable insights that tell you something tangible to do. So that's really taken hold. So those are going to continue to get a lot of attention. I would say one other thing that's got our attention before the end of this year is we're going to be increasing our carrier coverage. So we're really, really excited about that, introducing some new carriers into the app.
Amazing. I need a pop-up like that, I think, every day. Oh, you're doing this? Oh, you could be doing better over here. I need one of those pop-ups. So I can only imagine what our audience is thinking right now. And I'm sure you're going to get lots of phone calls and people reaching out to you, because in the world of e-commerce and global trade, efficient shipping and logistics management are vital for businesses looking to thrive. And that's exactly where Reveel comes in. Reveel are shipping intelligence experts with one goal in mind: to give businesses who rely on parcel shipping the peace of mind of knowing they'll never spend a penny more than they have to. And in this climate, peace of mind is priceless. If you want to find out more, you can check them out at reveelgroup.com. That's REVEEL group.com. And did you have a guess at today's big question? Well, at the top of the show, I asked you, how many parcels did the US ship, receive, and return in 2022? Well, the answer is an absolutely massive 21.2 billion parcels, 1.1 billion more than anticipated by pre-pandemic forecasts. Talk about an e-commerce boom. Well, Josh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today, and to the team at Reveel for making this episode happen.
Thank you, Sarah. Great to see you.